The rap game just pulled off a twist so wild it makes Keeping Up with the Kardashians look like a PBS documentary. Young Thug, the Slime King himself, poured his heart into an emotional track called Miss My Dogs, a tribute dripping with pain, loyalty, and raw vulnerability. Fans were vibing, tweeting about how Thugger had gone from trap alien to Shakespeare in designer shades. And just as the culture was wiping tears and quoting lyrics, boom, news broke that Young Thug was arrested. Again, right after the track dropped. The timing? Disrespectful. The irony? Delicious. The chaos? Off the charts. Social media erupted faster than a Kanye rant. Twitter screamed conspiracy, TikTok reenacted the arrest like a Broadway musical, and Instagram flooded with edits of Thug in an orange jumpsuit holding a mic. Some fans cried injustice, others screamed setup, and the rest just spammed memes like it was Black Friday at Walmart. The question is no longer whether Young Thug is guilty or innocent. The real scandal is, did the system deliberately wait for his most emotional track to hit before slapping him in cuffs? Stick around, because this isn't just rap news, it's a Netflix drama, and the season finale starts now. The timing was so suspicious, fans didn't know whether to laugh, cry, or call Netflix for a documentary deal. Young Thug drops Miss My Dogs, a song drenched in raw emotion. And before fans even finished dissecting the first verse, boom, reports hit the airwaves that he's been arrested. Again, not next week, not next month, but the exact moment his most vulnerable track hits streaming platforms. If irony were a currency, the system just cashed a billionaire check. To understand why this blew up bigger than a Drake album rollout, you've got to rewind the story of Jeffrey Williams, aka Young Thug. For a decade, he's been rap's wildcard, the eccentric genius who blurred lines between fashion, slang, and sound. Dresses on album covers? He did it. Pioneering mumble rap into mainstream dominance? He did it. Mentoring half of Atlanta's rap scene while sounding like an extraterrestrial crying in auto-tune? He did that too. Thug wasn't just part of the culture, he was the culture, unpredictable and untouchable. But then came the nightmare. The RICO case. 3 letters that make rappers sweat more than child support court. Suddenly, YSL, Young Stoner Life Records, wasn't just a label. Prosecutors rebranded it as Young Slime Life, painting Thug as the alleged ringleader of a criminal empire. His lyrics? Treated like evidence. His music videos? Labeled as confession tapes. The government's narrative was clear. This wasn't artistry. This was organized crime disguised as rap. Fans were stunned, confused, furious. To them, Thug wasn't Tony Montana. He was the eccentric star who turned slime into a lifestyle brand. And yet, through it all, Thug's legend only grew. Behind bars, his name trended anytime his lawyers sneezed. Free Thug became a rallying cry, scribbled on walls, shouted at concerts, spammed in comment sections. His influence was undeniable. Gunna, Lil Baby, Future, even Drake owed pieces of their sound to his blueprint. He wasn't just locked up, he was immortalized. That's why Miss My Dogs hit like a bullet straight to the chest. Here was Thug, stripped of bravado, dropping bars about missing his brothers, his fallen soldiers, his people. It wasn't the outlandish, eccentric Thug fans were used to. It was Jeffrey, the man, crying out from behind the bars of fame and prison alike. For once, the chaos stopped, and the world listened. Fans quoted lyrics like scripture. He really speaking from the soul. Threads dissected every line. TikToks played clips with slow-motion edits and captions like, "This hit different." For a moment, the Slime King was human, relatable, vulnerable. And then, as if the universe said, "That's enough emotion." The arrest news broke. Social media imploded. Twitter became a courtroom, TikTok a comedy club, Instagram a digital protest. One viral post read, "They couldn't even let him be human for one day." Another joked, "The feds heard Miss My Dogs and said, yeah, you gonna miss them even more." The memes were merciless. One showed Thug recording in the studio with FBI agents hiding in the booth. Another had his mugshot photoshopped next to the single's cover art under the caption, "The deluxe nobody asked for." A TikTok trend emerged where creators sang Miss My Dogs while pretending to be cuffed mid-verse. Fans weren't just reacting, they were remixing his pain into digital entertainment. But beneath the laughter was outrage. Fans screamed conspiracy louder than a Nicki Minaj stan with Wi-Fi. "The timing ain't no coincidence," one viral thread insisted. They let him drop the track, then swooped in to kill the buzz. Others tied it to a bigger narrative. This is what they do. They wait until black men show vulnerability, then they weaponize it. Whether you believed it or not didn't matter. The theory spread like wildfire. And let's not forget the streets. For many, Thug wasn't just a rapper, he was a symbol of Atlanta, a voice of the trenches turned superstar. Seeing him cuffed right after showing his softer side felt like betrayal from the system itself. It wasn't just another arrest, it was a slap in the face to fans who saw "Miss My Dogs" as proof their hero was still fighting, still loyal, still human. Bloggers, podcasters, and YouTubers smelled blood and views. DJ Academics practically had a meltdown on Twitch, treating the news like the season finale of Power. Thumbnails plastered with Thug's mugshot screamed, "Young Thug destroyed!" Feds humiliate Thugger. Podcasters leaned into the conspiracies, swearing industry insiders had whispered about this timing for weeks. The commentary wasn't just reporting, it was theatre, designed to feed the outrage machine. The cultural whiplash was insane. One minute, fans were crying over "Miss My Dogs." The next, they were debating if Thug was targeted, cursed, or sabotaged by the industry. Every theory sounded crazier than the last, but they all had one thing in common. Nobody believed it was a coincidence. By the end of the first 24 hours, the scandal had grown into something bigger than Thug himself. It wasn't just about one man's arrest. It was about loyalty, betrayal, vulnerability, and the way the system seems to have a sixth sense for ruining a rapper's biggest moments. Thug didn't just drop a song, he dropped a cultural bomb, and the arrest was the explosion that followed. The result? A perfect storm. Fans split into camps. The defenders, who swore the feds had it out for him, the critics, who said he brought it on himself, and the comedians, who turned the chaos into endless content. But no matter which side you were on, one fact was undeniable. Young Thug was the main character of hip-hop's latest scandal, and the season had just begun. If "Miss My Dogs" was the emotional spark and the arrest was the explosion, then what followed was the wildfire, uncontrollable, messy, and burning through every corner of the culture. Social media wasn't just reacting, it was spiraling, mutating the scandal into memes, think pieces, and celebrity hot takes faster than TMZ on a caffeine rush. Twitter timelines read like a digital courtroom. Hashtags like Charm Free Thug, Miss My Dogs, and Tansham System Setup trended like chart-topping singles. Every other tweet was either someone screaming about injustice or someone laughing through the pain with the most disrespectful memes imaginable. Fans debated with the passion of a presidential election. One side yelled, "The feds will do anything to destroy a black artist who shows vulnerability," while the other side countered, "He knew what he signed up for. Stop defending criminals." No middle ground, no nuance, just chaos. Celebrities, of course, poured gasoline on the fire. Future, who rarely tweets anything that isn't cryptic enough to sound like an ancient prophecy, dropped, "Real ones never fold." Within minutes, it had over 100,000 likes and even more conspiracy theories. Was he calling Thug real? Was the snake aimed at someone else? Fans dissected it like it was Shakespeare in emoji form. Meek Mill jumped on Instagram Live like a preacher mid-sermon. "This ain't about one man. This about all of us, bro. They don't want us free. They don't want us rich. They don't want us powerful." His rant, punctuated with more yelling than punctuation, was clipped, remixed, and turned into meme gold. Fans posted it over Thug's beats, turning Meek into a hype man for Thugger's freedom. Even non-rap celebs chimed in. An NBA star tweeted, "They really locked him after that song. Nah, system foul." A pop singer posted a broken heart emoji with "Free Thug" in her story, as if she suddenly became hip-hop's Joan of Arc. The scandal transcended rap. It was mainstream chaos now. And then came the memes. Oh, the memes. Social media is ruthless when tragedy and comedy collide. And Thug's situation was the perfect storm. One viral meme showed him dropping "Miss My Dogs" in the studio with FBI agents waiting outside the booth like, "Finish up, bro, we got time." Another slapped his mugshot next to the single cover, captioned, "The deluxe nobody wanted." TikTok created a challenge called the Orange Jumpsuit Remix, where creators dressed in prison costumes, lip-syncing his lyrics while fake guards dragged them away. Millions of views poured in. Pain. Monetized through comedy. But beneath the jokes was rage. Fans called it the criminalization of art, the same pattern we've seen for decades. They pointed out how country singers can sing about murder and pill popping without subpoenas, but rappers get treated like their lyrics are court transcripts. One viral thread read, Johnny Cash said he shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. Where were the feds then? Another bluntly posted, rap is the, then. Another bluntly posted, rap is the only genre where creativity is admissible in court. Hip-hop elders weighed in too. Killer Mike wrote an essay-length post that went viral. They fear our voices, our art, our influence. They don't criminalize the music, they criminalize the man. His words spread across platforms, quoted by journalists, reposted by activists, and turned into graphics slapped on Instagram stories. Suddenly, Thug's arrest wasn't just a personal scandal. It was a symbol for a larger war between the system and the culture. Meanwhile, YouTubers and podcasters gorged themselves on the drama. DJ Academics, in true form, turned his Twitch stream into a one-man circus, breaking down every detail like it was a live sporting event. Other creators uploaded hour-long breakdowns with titles like The FBI's Timing Exposed and Is Young Thug the Tupac of This Generation? Everyone wanted a slice of the outrage pie, and fans devoured it. The conspiracy theories escalated by the day. One viral video insisted the feds waited for Miss My Dogs to drop so they could kill its momentum, arguing that they feared Thug's influence growing even from behind bars. Another thread claimed the arrest was an industry sacrifice, where labels allegedly cut deals with the system to save themselves while artists take the fall. Crazy, absolutely. Entertaining? More than Netflix. And the silence from Thug himself? Well, that was inevitable. He was behind bars, cut off from the narrative. And that vacuum made the speculation spread like wildfire. Fans begged for statements, for leaked phone calls, for coded messages in court filings. Every scrap of information, a lawyer's press release, a blurry courtroom sketch, was treated like gospel. The less he spoke, the more people projected. At the center of it all, Miss My Dogs transformed. It stopped being just a song and became a rallying cry. Fans blasted it at protests. TikTokers used it as background music for free Thug edits. Comment sections were flooded with lyrics turned into slogans. It wasn't just music anymore. It was a soundtrack for the scandal itself. By the second week, Young Thug wasn't just a rapper in trouble. He was a folk hero, a symbol, a tragic main character in hip-hop's ongoing battle against the system. Fans didn't just debate his case. They debated what his story meant for all of rap. Was he the victim of overreach? Was he reckless? Or was he simply too powerful for the system to ignore? No matter the answer, one fact was undeniable. Thug was the culture's obsession. Every meme, every tweet, every clip revolved around him. Whether fans were defending him, clowning him, or theorizing about him, the conclusion was the same. Young Thug was the main character of the rap world, and the scandal was the biggest show in town. And like any great drama, the story didn't end with answers. It ended with cliffhangers. When the storm of memes, hashtags, and celebrity hot takes began to quiet down, the reality of the situation hit harder than a bass drop on a Metro Boomin beat. Young Thug wasn't just the trending topic of the week anymore. He was a man locked in the system, staring at consequences that stretched beyond punchlines and playlists. The laughter faded, but the questions grew louder. What did this mean for his career? For his legacy? For hip-hop as a whole? The first thing to crumble was reputation. Thugger built an empire out of chaos, style, and innovation. He wasn't just another Atlanta rapper. He was the eccentric architect of a sound that spawned careers, influenced the mainstream, and turned slime into a lifestyle brand. For years, his eccentricity shielded him. People expected him to be unpredictable, to defy labels. But this scandal wasn't about fashion choices or alien-sounding melodies. It was about handcuffs, courtrooms, and allegations that painted him as less of an innovator and more of a crime boss. Suddenly, his reputation wasn't avant-garde. It was radioactive. The music industry reacted quickly. Radio stations hesitated. Brands that once wanted Thug's drip for campaigns started ghosting him like a bad Tinder date. Promoters whispered about pulling his name from festival lineups, terrified of headlines that would turn their event into a courtroom sideshow. Music execs scrambled behind the scenes, trying to calculate whether Thug was still a golden goose or a sinking ship. For years, he was untouchable. Now, every partnership came with a question mark the size of his RICO indictment. But the true sting came from the way Miss My Dogs itself was rebranded. What should have been remembered as one of Thug's most heartfelt tracks quickly became Exhibit A in the court of public perception. Instead of being celebrated for its honesty, it was dissected for hidden meanings, weaponized by prosecutors, and memeified by fans. TikTok didn't let the song breathe as art. They turned it into a soundtrack for orange jumpsuits and free thug edits. It was both anthem and punchline, protest and parody. That duality made it impossible for anyone to hear the track without thinking of the scandal. Relationships inside YSL cracked under the pressure too. Gunna's name resurfaced, dragged back into debates about loyalty, and deals cut in back rooms. Lil Baby, Future, and Drake, all Thug protégés or collaborators, were scrutinized for how loudly or quietly they supported him. Every shout-out was dissected. Every silence was suspicious. The loyalty Thug once inspired was now a test, and the court of public opinion was keeping receipts. And the fans, they carried the weight in two completely different ways. On one side, supporters doubled down, turning Free Thug into a mantra, spray painting it on walls, shouting it at shows, plastering it across social media bios. They saw him as a martyr, a victim of systemic bias, punished for daring to be vulnerable, targeted for being too influential. On the other side, critics refused to let up. They mocked him, called him reckless, and labeled him another cautionary tale. For every supporter screaming injustice, there was someone laughing at a meme of Thug performing live from Cell Block C. The larger cultural conversation was unavoidable. Hip-hop versus the system. Fans and activists pointed out how rap lyrics are consistently weaponized as evidence in court, a tactic no other genre faces. Rock stars can scream about murder and Satan without subpoenas. Country singers can glorify drugs and guns without prosecutors turning their songs into case files. Yet for rappers like Thug, every bar became a potential indictment. To many, this wasn't just about one man. It was about the erasure of hip-hop as art and its rebranding as criminal evidence. Thug's silence only amplified the spectacle. With no statements, no interviews, no social media posts, the narrative was left entirely in the hands of fans, bloggers, and prosecutors. Every leaked phone call, every blurry courtroom sketch, every rumor became part of the mythology. His absence created a vacuum, and the internet filled it with conspiracy theories, edits, and hot takes. It wasn't just about the facts anymore. It was about the story, and in that story, Thug was both villain and victim, genius and gangster, king and pawn. And yet, the paradox of scandal is this. The very thing that threatens to destroy your career can also immortalize you. Tupac, Gucci Mane, even Bobby Shmurda. Prison turned them into legends, symbols larger than life. Thug was on the same path. The arrest after Miss My Dogs made him unforgettable. He wasn't just another rapper caught up in legal trouble. He was the man who bared his soul in a song, only to be cuffed before the echo faded. That image, the emotional artist silenced by the system, was burned into hip-hop history. By the time the scandal hit its peak, young Thug had transcended music. He was a parable, a cautionary tale, a folk hero, and a meme all at once. For his supporters, he symbolized resilience in the face of systemic oppression. For his critics, he embodied hubris, the star who flew too close to the sun. Either way, his story wasn't just about one arrest. It was about hip-hop's never-ending dance with power, perception, and paranoia. And here's the cruelest irony. Miss My Dogs was supposed to be about him missing his people. But in the aftermath, it became about his people missing him. Fans flooded comment sections with posts like, "We miss you, Thugger." His absence was felt not just as an artist, but as a cultural force. The man who wrote about loyalty and loss became the one the culture itself longed for. The aftermath left the story dangling like a cliffhanger. Would he beat the case and return stronger, like Gucci Mane? Or would his legacy be frozen in tragedy, like Shmurda's Years on Ice? Nobody knew, but one fact was clear. Hip-hop had a new main character, and his name was Jeffrey Williams. The show wasn't over. It was just the end of another act. And there you have it. The scandal that had hip-hop gasping, laughing, and raging all at once. Young Thug poured his heart into Miss My Dogs, and instead of getting the flowers he deserved, he got cold metal cuffs slapped on his wrists. The culture turned his pain into memes, his song into a protest anthem, and his name into the biggest headline in rap. But here's the kicker. This isn't the end. Scandals in hip-hop never end, they reload. Tomorrow it might be a leaked phone call, a surprise court ruling, or a diss track that flips the narrative upside down. And when it does, you already know. The rap truth will be here, breaking it down, roasting it, and serving the tea hotter than a Popeye's biscuit with no drink. Hotter than a Popeye's biscuit with no drink. Now it's your turn. Drop your theories in the comments. Did the feds deliberately time this arrest to kill his moment? Was Miss My Dogs a warning shot Thug sent before the hammer dropped? Or is this just another episode of hip-hop's longest-running soap opera? No theory is too wild, no comment too crazy, and while you're at it, smash that like button like it owes you child support. Subscribe and hit the bell harder than a DJ Khaled another one, because you don't want to be the last person at the cookout saying, "Wait, what happened to Thugger?" This is the rap truth, where loyalty gets tested, reputations get roasted, and every scandal feels like a season finale. Stick around because the next bombshell, trust me, it's already loading.